Hi, friends, it's Margie, and welcome back to Mondays with Margie. I hope your week is off to a good start and that you're ready to think deeply today. This week, as we wrap up our conversations for Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, I want to talk about something that shapes the way our entire culture understands disability: representation in media. Because the stories we see shape the way we see people. For many years, people with disabilities were either missing from the story entirely or portrayed in very limited ways. Sometimes they were portrayed as someone to pity, sometimes as someone to overcome their disability, sometimes as someone whose only purpose was to inspire others. But real life is so much bigger than those narratives. People with developmental disabilities are students, they're professionals, they're friends, they're leaders, they're creators, they're community members. And when those stories aren't reflected in media, whether that's television, movies, news coverage, or even social media, people grow up with a very narrow understanding of disability. Representation matters because stories shape expectations. When media only shows one kind of story, people start to believe that's the only story that exists. But when media includes diverse, authentic experiences of disability, something powerful happens. People begin to see disability not as something distant or unusual, but as part of the human experience. Representation helps people feel seen. It helps communities feel understood. And it helps break down the assumptions that often create barriers in the first place. Representation also matters for another reason: belonging. When someone with a developmental disability sees someone like them in media, in leadership, or in storytelling spaces, it sends a powerful message. You belong here too. Visibility can open doors, it can shift perspectives, and sometimes it can even inspire someone to imagine possibilities they hadn't seen before. But the goal of representation isn't just visibility, it's authenticity. Authentic representation means listening to real experiences. It means creating space for people with disabilities to tell their own stories. And it means moving beyond stereotypes to show the full complexity of people's lives. Here at More Than Able, storytelling has always been an important part of what we do. Because when people share their stories honestly and thoughtfully, it creates understanding. And understanding is often the first step toward real inclusion. When we expand the stories we tell about disability, we expand what people believe is possible. So, as we close out Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, here's something to reflect on this week. Pay attention to the stories you're seeing. Ask yourself whose voices are included and whose voices might still be missing. And whenever you have the opportunity, choose to uplift stories that reflect dignity, authenticity, and belonging. Because representation doesn't just shape media, it shapes culture. Thank you for listening, friends. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being part of More Than Able. This is Margie, and you've been listening to Mondays with Margie. Please like, comment, and share. And I'd love it if you would follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. and subscribe to our YouTube channel and Spotify. I'll see you next Monday.